Hola clase, ¿cómo están? Excelente, and welcome back. All right, so today we are going to continue with the preterite tense. I want to start by doing just regular preterite verbs, and then we'll move on to the irregular verbs, okay? All right, let's have a look. All right, here is your warm-up. Saquen papel y practiquen. Pause the video now. All right, first one. They ate my cookies. Ellos, if you want to say it, comieron mis galletas. Mm. His dog drank my water. Su perro bebió or tomó mi agua. Did you camp in Colorado? Acampaste en Colorado? She celebrated her birthday. Ella celebró su cumpleaños. We cut the paper. Cortamos el papel. Senior Cowart wrote a book. Señor Cowart escribió un libro. Notice the accent marks, y'all. I can't tell you how important that is. For example, celebro without an accent mark means I celebrate. Celebró means she celebrated. It changes everything. And here, escribió is just making sure that you pronounce it right. It's writing it correctly. So if you don't write accent marks, you might confuse someone, and also it's just bad form. It's a part of the language. They're very present. In English, every now and then you'll see a word like cafe or resume, these kind of French things that show up, um, stuff like that. But they're not very present in English. But in Spanish, they're all over the place. It's a big deal. Okay, so let me go over your notes here. These are the verbs we're going to be focusing on for now. So first we have to be, estar, and that turns into estuve. Okay, you have to use this root. You can't just take off the AR and say este. Okay, it's got to be estuve. And once you turn it into estuve, you hook it onto these. Estuve, I was. Estuviste, you were. Estuvo, he was. Estuvimos, we were. Estuvisteis, y'all in Spain were. And then estuvieron, they were. To have, tener, becomes tuve. And down here I've made an illustration of how these two things click together like Legos. For example, I had is tuve, so you have tuve. Okay? Tuve, tuve. If it were we had, it'd be tuve imos. They had tuve ieron. And that's all there is to it. So you have to learn all the parts, and of course you have to know what these verbs mean. Okay? And as always, y'all, I want to remind you, this is not some little grammatical concept like just a problem on a page that you'll never see out in the real world. These are really commonly said things. Okay, so to have, tener, becomes to walk, andar, anduv, to be able, poder, pud, to put, poner, pus, to fit, caber, cup, to find out, saber, soup. Now, a way to remember caber is imagine you want to save some money, so a bunch of y'all fit into one cab, or maybe you can fit a lot of things into a cup. Now, saber usually means to know, right? I know the answer. Yo sé la respuesta. I don't know. No sé. In the past tense, saber means to find out. So you would say something like, supe que Señor Cowart es mi primo. I found out that Señor Cowart is my cousin. And I think we could agree that'd be a weird day for all of us. But I'd be excited to have a new cousin. Okay, so again, supe que Señor Cowart es mi primo. I found out that. Or let's say someone's having a baby. Oh, she had her baby. You say, sí, supimos hoy. We found out today. Supimos anoche. We found out last night. Isn't that exciting? Okay, so with querer turns into quis. And this one, I want to get the exact notes here to make sure I'm telling you correctly. All right, so this is on one of the sheets that I gave you, the one for Mrs. Johnson. So querer, it says querer will mean two different things in the preterite. If you say yo quise, it means I tried to call. Like it means I tried, but I was unsuccessful. Okay? And this is really important. So let me show you. Let's just pull out, I don't know, WordPad or something. Like if you said this, if you say yo quise llamarte, that says I tried to call you. Okay? I tried to call you. Yo quise. Literally, it's like saying I wanted to call you. But you have to understand the preterite tense is finished, it is set, it's done, it's over. So if you communicate somebody, yo quise llamarte, it means I tried to call you, and the implied meaning is I was unsuccessful. Okay, like if I told you, anoche quise estudiar. Last night, I tried to study. Okay, like even in English, if I told you, oh, I wanted to study last night, the implication is that it didn't happen, right? So it's the same thing in Spanish. Quise estudiar, I tried, and I was most likely unsuccessful. Now another one, if you make it no, let's take this down one. Hold on, let's just make it like 24. Okay, so that's if you are saying yo quise. If you say no, like for example, tú no quisiste contestar el teléfono. This actually means you refused to answer the phone. Tú no quisiste contestar el teléfono. You refused. Again, it literally is like saying you didn't want to answer the phone, but the fact that this is so over and done and dead makes it you refused to answer the phone. I tried, yo llamé, pero tú no quisiste contestar el teléfono. You refused. You insisted on not doing it. Okay? So, if you say querer, if you say quise, it is tried. If you say no quise, refused. Okay? And these do add up, by the way. When you're actually talking to native speakers, these are definitely things that they might say to you. Right? Like if this is your frustrated friend, they say, tú no quisiste contestar el teléfono. You refused to answer the phone. Yo quise llamarte. I tried to call. So there you go. Okay, that was a little side explanation of how these things work out in the world. Okay. To make or do is hacer, which turns into is. Okay. And we went over those conjugations of hacer, which is right here. Hice, hiciste, hizo, hicimos, hicisteis, hicieron. All right, so we say hizo with the Z, so it sounds like the other ones. Hacer, hice, hiciste, hizo. Okay, next is to come. Venir turns into vin. Yeah, he came yesterday. He came at 5 o'clock. El vino. Well, I came, but you weren't there. Yo vine. These are all set actions that are over. They're done. If you say yo vine, I came. No vine, I didn't come. Right? You didn't see me there. So next, these last three, excuse me, are what we call J stems. These are ones where the one special thing, instead of ieron, when you say they, for example, you say eron. So it goes like this. So dije, dijiste, dijo, dijimos, dijistes, dijeron. Instead of dijeron, it is dijeron. Not a big deal, but you still want to say things right. And I can't tell you how common this verb is. Hablar is all well and good because you want to say, like, yo hablo español, mi amigo habla mucho, all kinds of talking and speaking. However, decir is also really, really useful because it's talking about saying or telling. Like if you want to say, he said goodbye. Él dijo adiós. Um, did you tell him? Uh, le dijiste? Did you tell him? ¿Le dijiste la información? No, no le dije nada. ¿Por qué no le dijiste? No sé, no le dije nada. Okay, so decir is a really useful, really common verb. So please get familiar with that because that's one, again, if you stick with Spanish, you will see that out in the real world. Like you say, well, she said what to do. Ella dijo qué hacer. To drive is conducir, which becomes conduj, and to bring, traer, becomes traj. Okay, so here we go. Estar, estuve. Tener, tu. Andar, anduve. Poder, pude. Poner, pus. Caber, cup. Cup. Saber, sup. Querer, quis. Hacer, is. Venir, vin. Decir, dij. Conducir, conduj. And traer, traj. And there you go. Okay, awesome. So I think that was pretty good. Now, so I want you to write 3 original sentences with these. This is not to turn in. I'm going to give you something to turn in, but this is not to turn in. Just take a moment and pick 3 verbs and make a sentence. Okay, go ahead and pause the video now. So, some things you could have said is yo tuve el dinero. Mi amigo anduvo a Target. Anoche pudimos estudiar. Now, I can't remember if I went over this one. Poder is to be able. Again, we want to emphasize how permanent and over and done this is. If you tell somebody, anoche yo pude estudiar. Last night I was able to study. If you say, no pude estudiar, I was not able to study. Simply put, right? It is very definite. It's over. Let's say the baby was crying all night. Oh, no pude estudiar. I was not able to study. I was unsuccessful. Okay? And there we go. Okay. Now, again, more other sentences. Nosotros cupimos en la casa. Mi amigo supo la verdad. He found out the truth. I'm the one who stole his sandwich. Um, Tú quisiste comer el sándwich. Okay, so that would be like you tried to eat it. Tú quisiste. Oh, you wanted to eat the sandwich. Oh, yes. Oh, sí. Tú quisiste comer mi sándwich, pero yo comí el sándwich. Ja, ja, ja. Yo pude comer el sándwich y tú no pudiste hacerlo. Okay. Now, next to show you, if you go to, and I'm going to type it real big here so we can all see. Let's crank up the level here. If you go to tinyurl.com/cow-irreg-pret2, make sure I got that right. Let's see. Yep, cow-irreg-pret2. So if you type that into the web browser, it will take you straight to this. It's a Quizlet. Okay, it's got all of these verbs. So for example, to be, not ser, is estar, which turns into estuve. To have, we already know it's tener. What does it turn into? Tuve. To walk, andar, anduve. So it's got all of your words here. And then after that, it's got your endings. Tuve, tuviste, tuvo, tuvimos, tuvistes, tuvieron, or eron if it's a J-stem, of course. And then it's got some really good practice. We had, tuvimos. They had, tuvieron. I had, tuve. And then it moves on to these, okay? So those are really, really, really good to practice with. Now, let's see. Now, in class, what I'm going to do is call on people with questions. Like, I could ask you, like, ¿Qué pusiste en tu mochila? And you say, yo puse papel. Um, ¿Dónde estuviste anoche? Yo estuve en mi casa. And so on, right? ¿Hiciste la tarea? No hice mi tarea. No hice mi tarea. ¿Qué dijiste a tu mamá? Yo dije, hola mamá. Okay, now the last thing for today is your writing assignment. The bad date. Look, I typed in bad date, y'all. This is about the best picture that came up. Look at that one. This man has grabbed the flowers off the table she was already sitting at. Anyway, so this is going to be for a quiz grade, which is good news for you because you can use your notes. It says using your irregular verbs in the preterite tense, write 10 sentences about a date gone horribly wrong. Each sentence needs to use a different verb from your list. Make this funny if you can. Think about just how badly a terrible date can go. This will be graded for accuracy and count as a quiz grade. If you do need to look up words, please just search for one word at a time on something like wordreference.com or Spanish Dict or things like that, such as waiter, napkin, cockroach. Okay, so use your imagination, make this fun, make it interesting, because I'm going to be reading a bunch of these, and they might as well be entertaining, right? And I want you to enjoy it. Make a fun little story about a horrible date gone wrong, because we have a lot of really good verbs to choose from here, and that's why I kept it at 10, because you could say, um, I went to McDonald's, but the girl was at Arby's. She had three dogs with her. Anything like that. There's a lot of really fun, really good stuff you can get because I think there's 13 verbs here. You can talk about what she said or where you drove or what you found out. There's a lot of really, really interesting things you could pull from here. Okay? So, I'm going to cut back to me here. All right. So go ahead and get your stuff done. I'm going to give you until Friday to have that written and turned in. Okay? Study, study. Adios.